Next from Chicago, we talked to former Governor Jim Edgar for the first time since the November elections, as he gives his thoughts on what he believes the state can expect from Governor Elect Rauner and whether Illinois politics are going to become less partisan due to the state's immediate need to fix its fiscal problems. This runs about 8 minutes.
Governor Jim Edgar, thanks for joining us on the Illinois Channel. After the election now of Governor Elect Rauner, it seems to me a little odd in that he's never held office before, and so while he's been elected governor, many Illinoisans really don't know much about him. You've met with him some. What is your sense, both from your perspective of having been governor and also in your talks with him, about what kind of a man he is, his philosophy of governing? What might we expect?
Well, first of all, he's a very intelligent person. I mean, wouldn't have been that successful in the private sector without being intelligent. While he hasn't been in government, and you know that I've told him that I think it helped if he'd have been in government, but at the same time he's been very successful in other fields. He also was very successful as a candidate, so that's part of the process, that's part of the learning process. So I'm not as worried as I was or concerned as I might have been. I think he's a quick study. He listens to a lot of different people. I mean, he always is asking people their opinion. And how he's handled himself since the election, I've been very impressed with. He's made it very clear he wants to work with the Democrats. It needs to be bipartisan. That he's willing to, talk to them about whatever their proposals. I mean, he fortunately got through the campaign without being as locked in as many people have in the past. So he has a lot of flexibility, and I think he knows he's going to have to compromise to get things done. So I feel good about that because I think that's very important. It's going to take compromise. It's going to take bringing different points of view together, and he seems very open to that. I was very impressed with how quickly he reached out to Speaker Madigan and Senator Cullerton and had a meeting with him, which is very important that he has a good working relationship, particularly with the two major legislative leaders of the other party. While I'm sure they're going to have some bumps on the road, that was a very positive sign that they had a lengthy meeting, and from all indication it was a very worthwhile meeting. So that makes me feel better about his understanding that he's the governor, but you don't get everything your way, and I think he knows that. And that's some governors we've had, it's taken a while before they realize that.
Just to remind people, when you came in, the state was in bad financial shape. You were nicknamed Governor No for saying no to things and spending. But isn't I don't know if it's your sense or not, but are we in much worse shape now than we were when you came in? And how parallel, but then you turned it around. We ended up having $1.5 billion surplus at the end of your 8 years. What might we expect as far as what can any one governor do given the state's current fiscal shape?
Well, when I came in as governor, we were in the worst financial shape the state had ever been in. And today we're in much worse shape. And it is going to be extremely difficult. Governor Rauner has a huge task ahead of him. And if they just call him Governor No and nothing worse than that, he'll be fortunate because he is going to have to say no to a lot of folks. And even though he's new in the politics, he's like most of us. We want people to like us, and you don't usually tell people no to make them happy with you. But I think he also understands that we've been living beyond our means, and that we're going to have to curtail our spending, and we're going to have to be much more prudent with the taxpayers' dollars. So I think he'll deal with that. I don't believe it's going to happen quickly, though. I mean, it's going to take time. It took us 2 or 3 years to kind of get out of the mess we're in. I think it'll take 4 or 5 at least before they can get out of the mess they're in. Now, there's some outside factors we can't predict. The economy really picks up. That'll bring more revenue in, take people off Medicaid rolls, and that would help a lot. But it's going to take tough decisions on the part of the governor and the legislature working in concert, which we really haven't seen for a long time, bipartisan, to get the state back on track. And it's not going to be easy. I mean, people are not going to like a lot of the solutions. The medicine will probably be pretty bitter, but we need to start taking it now. But it might take a a few years before we see the results.
Let me ask you one last question. I know you got to get a train. Working with Speaker Madigan and John Cullerton, given the state's financial crisis that we're in, do you anticipate at all that maybe this would be a little less partisan environment than in years past because everyone knows we have to get something done, or is that wishful thinking?
Well, you remember in years past it was all Democrats, so it wasn't so much partisan, it got to be personal. And I'm very hopeful, and both Senator Cullerton and Speaker Madigan are very smart people. They're adults. I think they're professionals, and just by willing to sit down with Governor Elect Rauner very quickly, I think indicated that. So I'm hopeful that all sides can come together. I mean, again, there's going to be areas that are going to disagree, but my experience, and now John Cullerton wasn't the Senate leader when I was governor, Speaker Madigan was the speaker, and on many occasions he was a very good ally on trying to work through the budget problems. Now, that's not to say that he's going to do whatever the governor wants, but I think he has an understanding of the financial problems, and he's going to want to rectify them. So will Senator Cullerton. And I think if they feel that the governor is serious too, which I believe he will be, very serious, then I think they'll be able to come to a working agreement and do some important things. I've been very hopeful, as I said, since the election. Listen to the rhetoric and just knowing the three individuals that they will be able to sit down and work together. But I don't want anyone to think it's going to be easy. I mean, they will have differences. And, you know, when you start talking about spending money, everybody's going to have to accept the other points of view a little bit. There's no one way and that's the only way. But I think, again, Bruce Rauner, while he hasn't been in government, I think he understands that. He's negotiated enough big deals to know that, you know, you need to be firm, but at the same time, you've got to be willing to compromise.
All right, Governor Edgar,
Okay.
thank you.